All right, let's dive in. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest, conversations of our time, artificial intelligence. I mean, it is developing at a truly dizzying pace. And that brings up a huge challenge. How do we build a future where AI actually works for us and not, against us? Let's get into it.
And that's really the question, isn't it? AI isn't coming anymore. It's here. And its potential is absolutely massive. But all that power raises an urgent challenge. How do we steer this thing? As these systems get smarter and smarter, how do we make sure they stay aligned with what we actually value? Because, we have to be clear. AI isn't just one thing. It's this incredible tool with so much promise. But like any powerful tool, it comes with some pretty significant risks that we absolutely have to address head on.
Yeah, this is no longer the stuff of science fiction. AI is already capable of some seriously complex reasoning. It can write code, it can create art. And as it gets woven into all of our industries, this transformation is sparking a major concern. What happens to our jobs? The potential for mass job displacement is very, very real. So, if AI and automation threaten to completely upend our economy, what do we do about it? Well, one of the most talked about ideas is a kind of social safety net called Universal Basic Income, or UBI for short. So what exactly is UBI? Well, at its core, it's a regular cash payment that's given to every single citizen. Now, the key word here is unconditional. Unlike a lot of traditional welfare, there are no strings attached. You get it whether you have a job or not. And that is a pretty radical shift in how we think about economic security. Now, the people who are for this argue that UBI could be a total game changer. It basically provides a financial floor, giving people the security to adapt, maybe learn a new skill, or even start their own business in this crazy changing labor market. And pilot programs in places like Finland and Kenya have actually shown some positive effects on well-being and economic security. But of course, it's not that simple. The critics raise some really serious questions. Like, how on earth do you pay for it without crippling the economy? Would it just cause massive inflation? And here's the big one. Would people just stop working? These are huge hurdles that make UBI a very, very heated topic. So UBI is one approach, right? It's a societal fix that deals with the consequences of AI. But what if we could tackle the problem at the source? I mean, what if, instead of just bracing for AI's impact, we could proactively shape AI's behavior from the inside out? Let's switch gears and look at a completely different kind of solution. This one doesn't come from economics, but from something called game theory. It's all about designing the rules of the game so that AI systems, even when they're just acting in their own self-interest, end up doing what we want them to do. The key concept here has a kind of fancy name, incentive compatibility. But don't let that fool you. The idea is actually brilliantly simple. You don't fight self-interest, you harness it. You set up a system where the smartest way for an AI to get what it wants is to first give you what you want. Okay, let's use a classic example to make this super clear. The cake cutting problem. Imagine you've got two AIs. They've been trained on one simple goal: get as much cake as possible. In other words, they both want the biggest slice they can possibly get their hands on. But your goal as the human designer is totally different. You're not optimizing for consumption. You want fairness. You want that cake divided equally. This mismatch between what the AI wants and what the human wants is what researchers call the socio-technical gap. It's pretty much the core of the whole AI alignment problem. So how do you solve this? You don't try to reprogram the AI to stop wanting cake. You just add one simple rule to the game. Whoever cuts the cake has to let the other person choose their piece first. And boom, that one little rule changes everything. All of a sudden, the AI's self-interest starts working for you. To guarantee it gets the biggest possible piece for itself, its only rational move is to make the two pieces absolutely identical. Because if it cuts one slice even a tiny bit bigger, it knows the other AI will take it, leaving it with a smaller piece. So you see what just happened? We aligned the AI's behavior with our goal of fairness, not by changing its basic motivation, but by changing the rules of the environment it operates in. That right there, in a nutshell, is incentive compatibility. Okay, so we've looked at two really different ways of thinking about our future with AI, right? We've got a social safety net on one hand and a technical rulebook on the other. And the real path forward probably involves a bit of both. Let's actually put them side by side. UBI is a reactive approach. It addresses the external fallout, the consequences of AI on our society. AI alignment, using ideas like incentive compatibility, that's a proactive approach. It tries to shape the AI's internal behavior to be beneficial right from the start. Think of it like this. One is about cushioning the blow after a biased algorithm causes problems. The other is about trying to design the system so the bias never exists in the first place.
And the cake problem is just the tip of the iceberg. It's an example of a field called mechanism design, which is basically the art of creating rules for a game to get the outcome you want. Researchers are also exploring things like contract theory to help design self-enforcing agreements for AIs, and even something called Bayesian persuasion, which is about how to strategically share information to guide an AI's choices. It's a whole toolbox for building a safer AI future.
Which brings us to our final question. As we're standing here at this incredible technological crossroads, where should we be putting most of our energy? Is it into building safety nets, changing our society to adapt to these powerful new machines? Or is it into designing the fundamental rules, changing our machines to adapt to the needs of our society? The real answer is probably both. But the balance we decide to strike, that will define the world we end up building. Thanks for tuning in.